In India today, Shiv Arur for more on the story. Shiv, reports from Israel seem to indicate that the Mossad chief, the former Mossad chief, some senior intelligence officials, they've traveled to Doha. They're in touch for the safe release of hostages. One hostage has been released, 239 still remain in custody. Shiv, what's the road ahead when it comes to the release of hostages?
You know, the Israeli Defense Forces have provided, regular updates with names and faces of Hamas terrorists who've been killed. The most recent one was a senior commander who was apparently directly in charge of what happened on October the 7th. The division that deals with drones and UAVs. He was in charge of that. He's apparently been killed in one particular airstrike. The big elephant in the room continues to be the hostages. Over 220 hostages continue to be in captivity with the Hamas in this part of this geography. The Gaza Strip is a large place. It's a big place to hide 220 hostages, and I think it stands to reason that they are being hidden in not just in the northern part of Gaza, which is right behind me, but in other parts of the Strip as well, including in possibly the tunnels. Remember, the Hamas has been talking about how the airstrikes may have, killed tens of these hostages already, but this may be psychological warfare. There is no proof of this yet. There's no evidence of this yet. It's also a very dangerous game that may be being played right now by Hamas, because this is an Israel that is now galvanized. It had delayed the ground operation thus far, but now, having gone in 4 days ago, it has decided to stay there for a long and hard war, even if it means inch by inch, meter by meter, as the defense minister had said. This is an Israel that has limitless resources, a lot of weapons, and the stamina perhaps to stay there for a long time, even in the absence of an exit strategy or an end game. Having said that, it remains to be seen how the Hamas is going to navigate, this new calculation by Israel. Israel has basically, which had thought that it wouldn't start a ground operation because of the hostages, has now started it. Is it going to scale it up? Not likely, but that doesn't mean, the damage to the Hamas isn't happening. How does that change the threat to the hostages who continue to be in Hamas captivity is not known. But with special forces rescuing one, IDF corporal, a young woman soldier from Hamas captivity yesterday, and she's been returned to her. Images going completely viral. New hope has dawned perhaps on the fact that maybe the airstrikes and the ground operations by the IDF, have disabled many of these cells, disabled many of these areas, and those holding the hostages captive, may be picked off by, targeted or surgical attacks from the ground, and therefore hostages are being rescued in this manner. Perhaps there will be more rescued, but 220 is a very, very large number, and in a place as large as the Gaza Strip, and you can hear a fighter aircraft behind me just returning from a particular airstrike. A place as large as the Gaza Strip, as I was saying to close that thought, finding each and every one of those who definitely aren't going to be in the same place, they could be potentially in 220 different places, is going to be a very, very tricky affair. And to pull something like that off without any casualties to the hostages and to civilians on the ground is going to be an extremely onerous task for the IDF. So we'll have to see how that pans out as well.
And perhaps that's why the Israeli intelligence officials were in Qatar interacting with officials there, trying to see, like in the past, if there can be some kind of a negotiation, humanitarian aid in return of the hostages. One hostage, of course, as you mentioned, Shiv, has been repatriated or rescued. But militarily, what's the situation at the Gaza Strip, the devastation, the humanitarian crisis, and Israel's operations? With or without the hostage negotiation, Israel continues to pound the Gaza Strip?
Well, the destruction is clearly visible from where we've been reporting. The damage to the northern end of Gaza is extremely apparent. If you look at the pictures that I've been sending in from earlier, it's really a hellscape. The northern tip is just basically a hellscape. Both airstrikes as well as tank damage is very, very clearly visible even from this distance away. I'm reporting from about 2 kilometers away from the Gaza front, and the damage, the plumes of smoke, they are pretty much constant. The images coming in from inside Gaza are few and far between because there's a complete internet, knockoff. There are no communications coming in from the inside as well, and therefore it's difficult to assess precisely how much damage is coming in from different areas. But what we've seen from here, the pictures that I've taken with my own camera from this location right on the Gaza front suggest that the damage is there, the crisis is there, the kind of debris scape that has been created as a result of this relentless bombing campaign is very, very visible. But this is only the northern end. Airstrikes are also happening in central Gaza, we're told,
Yes.
and special forces operations, remember, are happening all across, including as far south as Khan Yunis, because remember, nobody knows where those hostages really are hiding at this point of time, or are being hidden at this point of time. So it remains to be seen how that part plays out.